Alright, what's up everybody? It is Andrew Trades, and this is how I've been able to do $19,000 in payouts this month and consistently do 5 figures in payouts only about 2 years and 3 months into trading. Now, I would say, trading only really got very, very consistent doing 5 figs plus every month in the past like 6 months. But let that go to show that things can change pretty fast for your life and you can make a lot of money. Now, for proof, for the, March isn't over just yet. But so far of March, this is what I have so far. Let me go ahead and make myself smaller. But I'm going to go over kind of the strategies that I've used to get me to this point, to do pretty well for myself. So this is about 16,000 in payouts right here. And then we had one payout from Lucid being right here. And notice these accounts are still active. I'm still trading these currently. Now, do I think I'll get a payout before end of March? Probably not, but I probably will do about 18,000 within the first week of April. So that's amazing. But let's go and talk about kind of some of the things that I use on a daily basis to get me to a better point from being an IFEG unprofitable chud to actually making some real money in trading. Now, don't get me wrong, I made about $50,000 in the year of 2025 with trading IFEGs, but it wasn't very consistent. If you trade IFEGs right now, you probably noticed that yourself, that you'll have a good week, you'll have a bad week, and then your account's gone and you just blew a payout. Or you'll get a payout and then you just put all that money that you just got paid out from back into accounts. Okay, so the biggest thing that I use now that I've switched from IFEGs to order flow is order flow is essentially ICT. If you've been trading ICT, you have been learning order flow on a kindergarten level. Let me tell you a secret a lot of these ICT traders don't want you to know is that ICT literally created his concepts based off of order flow. You may think otherwise, but ICT is literally order flow just dumbed down to a box in a line. So you have been lied to your entire trading career. Now, I was one of those people until I found out. But literally, a fair value gap is a volume imbalance, and a liquidity sweep is when we actually take out orders. Okay, so what does that look like? Well, one of the key things that have gotten me to where I'm at is using a order flow software such as Bookmap. Bookmap shows you where orders are resting, shows you where a lot of liquidity is, and shows you the proper liquidity zones to be targeting at any given day. Okay, so if we're looking at this right now, it's literally like it's 3 o'clock right now, so don't expect anything too crazy. But if we look at kind of like where liquidity targets would be, they would be kind of resting at 3275, 32, you could say 23255, and about 23235. So these would be kind of liquidity zones to target and give you actual confidence that we have just swept liquidity and not just, oh, we're trading out of a high or low. Okay, so just because it's a high or low on your screen does not mean it's liquidity, right? A lot of you guys trading ICT, you're like, okay, this is an obvious high. Bro, once we sweep out some lows, dude, this is an easy target. Or once we sweep out this high, boom, we're cooking, right? Look for an IFEG, let's trade. In reality, yes, it can work, and it did work for me, but I didn't start getting consistent, so I started implementing order flow, okay? Because order flow is ICT, just you guys are learning kindergarten ICT concepts, when in reality, if you pair ICT with order flow, you will do just fine and way better, okay? All of my students, and I'll show you guys some results of my students recently, all of my students that I personally teach now are ICT students, or were, and started trading order flow, and now they do very, very well for themselves. Let me pull up some good testimonials for you guys. All I'm saying is you can take it from me. Once I switched to order flow, everything has changed. Okay, so see, these are some results just in the past like couple days. It's March 27th, so payout, another payout. So we have payouts across the board, kind of everywhere. We can just go look at some of my students' trades in the past, and these are kind of, you're getting some insider info here, but these are all just trades from the past like week right here. We'll see when we get to like the actual week mark. So it'd be about March 22nd would be a week. So we're still only on March 25th, right? You can see we have a lot of trades in here, and these are all just from the past week. So Monday of this week, and this week was a really bad week if you personally traded. All right, so we're getting into Monday of this week. So boom, that's literally just some results from my students in the past week. And again, these are all just students that traded ICT or trade IFEGs, probably like you are watching this video right now, and implemented order flow and listened to my teachings, and now they are getting paid out consistently. Okay, so let there be some motivation that this isn't just some bullshit. This is real knowledge, okay? And this isn't just, me trying to sell you anything. This is me trying to genuinely help you get fucking paid out, because in reality, you can go trade ICT, you can go trade IFEGs. It'll work on some weeks and it'll make you shit the bed on other weeks, okay? You're going to be good at IFEGs if you can really master it, and it will take time. But a lot of the students that I've learned what I teach them now, they go from IFEGs and they go from ICT to learning this, and within a week, they already are way more profitable than they ever were in the past couple years of their trading, okay? So some of the biggest things that I implement to really help me become profitable is, one, obviously, as I mentioned, the software, the heat map software, to show me where literal orders are resting, where actual liquidity zones are that we can trade out of, right? It's not just because we took a higher low and now we can look to go the other side. It shows me where actual highs and lows are resting and where we actually want to target on any given day. Now, I'm not going to get too in depth on this because this does dive into my strategy, but just know that shows you all the sauce you need, okay? Now, when it comes to actually like trading, the biggest thing, obviously, that's going to help you become profitable is fucking not being a pussy, okay? It's not being a fucking bitch, right? When you take a loss, you have to just eat that loss. Now, personally, my risk management is a day is 2 losses and I'm done, right? If I take 2 losses, I'm just on the wrong side of the market or just have bad timing and I move on to the next day. That is probably the biggest thing that has helped me go from unprofitable chud to GOAT, okay? I'm not even GOATed status yet. I still have a lot of improvement and a lot of money to make. But, right, that is what helps me the most, is going from kind of an inconsistent trader to genuinely actually being able to trade, okay? Now, I'm not saying I'm anything special. I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm better than anyone else that you're maybe learning from. I'm just saying from personal experience, from trading ICT for 2 years to then switching to this, or for about like a year and a half to then switching to this, my trading just all of a sudden did a 180, and it's crazy how that works, right? So the biggest thing is just, one, risk management. Actually manage your money properly, okay? If you take 2 losses on a day, don't think you're right? The market's going to humble you more times than not, okay? So don't think, okay, oh, I just lost twice, I got to make this money back. What I tell all my students is it's harder to make money back than it is to make new money. And what that means, right, is if you lost on a couple times on a day and you're down $500, $600, $1,000, it's always going to be harder to make that money back than it is to just wait for the next opportunity, right? Because I'm sure a lot of you guys, what you do is you take a loss and then you're like, oh, the market's going up. Okay, I just need to make a couple $100 right now. Boom, you enter on a trade and maybe you do make that money back, but long term, that's not what trading is about. Trading is about taking your edge when your edge appears, not just because you're down money and you almost fantasize that this edge is here now, when in reality, you're just trying to make that money back and your psyche is just through the door, okay? So that's the biggest thing that I tell all my students, and that has helped them the most, is literally just have good psychology and don't be a fucking bitch, right? If you lose, accept your loss, right? And I tell all my students all the time as well, is when you take a loss, it is just simply your entry ticket to participating in the market, okay? So what that means is everyone knows in trading, nobody has an 100% win rate strategy. And if they did, well, they'd probably be working for a hedge fund, right? If you even have a 90% win rate strategy, you can expect that, 1 out of 10 times that you trade, you're going to have to lose, okay? Now, most of the time, most people, they say they have a 90% win rate. In reality, I personally have last week I had over 10 trading days. I did have a 92% win rate, or it was actually across 11 trading days. I went for, I think it was like 9 for 11 or something. But if we then look at, what is it actually consistently, I've had about a 70% win rate in the past like 2 months. So in reality, right, if you then take 70% and I target a 1 to 4, what can you expect? Okay, you're going to lose 3 out of 10 times. And what that means is 3 out of those 10 days, okay, you're going to have to just simply accept your loss and accept your ticket of entry. Okay, it's just like if you're buying into the lottery or buying into whatever it may be, it's the same thing with the markets. You have to understand that you're going to lose to win. And that's just simply how the markets work. And the reason 99% of you guys probably don't make it is because you cannot accept the barrier of entry, right? You cannot accept your losing ticket to get into the market. Okay, so that's the biggest thing that's going to allow you to actually start doing good. Whatever strategy you trade, right? Even if it's IFEGs or it's ICT, if you can just accept your losses and move on, you will instantly already become a better trader. On top of that is just actually understanding what it is that you're trading. Okay, so if I ask you what is a fair value gap, what are you going to tell me? Right? You're probably going to say an imbalance in the market, a fair price in the market, right? For the price to either come back into, for people to get back in, or vice versa. Okay, well, I want you to show me why is that, what you're explaining, right? So if you're explaining to me that, oh, it's fair value for the market, right? Well, what does that mean? Probably doesn't mean much to you. So here's a little bit of sauce, right? A fair value gap, right, is just a gap in price, right? We all know that, right? It's a gap between 2 candlesticks. If we're looking at this example right here, It's a gap between 3 candlesticks, right? Boom. This is our fair value gap. Well, okay, yes, that works, but we're on the minute time frame, okay? What real fair value looks like when you're looking at volume, okay, is these nodes here, okay? So if we notice, right, we have low volume node here. This is going to be a range of fair value for the market to continue to go lower, because most likely, right, we're in bearish market conditions, most likely going to continue to go lower here. Or if we look at this, a point of fair value, or here, a point of fair value, and it kind of keeps going through the range, okay? And again, what this means is, in volume profile standpoint, is it's essentially where there hasn't been a lot of volume traded, yet that means that we have to go fill that volume, okay? So what that would mean is most likely price will come back up into here, right? Allow more volume to get traded, allow more traders to get in at these certain levels, and price will determine where it wants to go from there. That is a big, that's a little bit of sauce right there for you guys, but I want to give you guys sauce, but not too much sauce, right? But that is also a great understanding of just how ICT, right, has made all these concepts, yet in reality, it's literally just rebranded volume, order flow concepts, right? It's literally just order flow broken down to the easiest level for you little chuds to understand. Because think about it, right? An ICT and mentorship standpoint, ICT has probably made millions off of his mentorship. And how would you want to sell a mentorship? Well, okay, Dodgy has said it himself. You want to be able to sell a mentorship, right, by making something complex enough to where 30 to 40-year-olds can understand it and make them think it works, and simple enough to where frat dudes can buy into it. So think about, okay, if you're looking at this, if you're some random dude out there watching this, what looks easier to understand? This or this? Most likely this, a box on the screen. That's 1,000 times easier to understand. And trust me, I was in your position. I was you 2 years ago until I learned what ICT actually did, and I learned actually what order flow is, volume profile, etc., and understood that literally ICT concepts are just copy and pasted and rebranded so ICT can call himself ICT and sell all these concepts. In reality, these concepts have been in the market for literally probably 50 plus years, literally decades. And all he's done is just rebranded it and become the GOAT of court sales, okay? The GOAT of info. And some of you guys may, disagree with that, And I'm not saying ICT doesn't work, right? Because at the end of the day, right, it is literally just order flow and volume profile, right, mashed into the easier concepts. But my problem is with it is that you guys don't understand what it is you're trading. You have no understanding of what a liquidity sweep actually is, and you have no understanding of what a fair value gap actually looks like, okay? And that's, the biggest part of this video, is allowing you guys to understand that yes, what you're trading can work, but you need to understand why it is that you're trading that, right? What is the context behind your liquidity sweep? Just because it's a high doesn't mean we have orders there. For example, if we go to Bookmap, I'll go there right now, right? If we look at level of 23396, okay, let's go to the Bookmap. What do we see? 23396. Crazy how that works, right? I don't see any orders resting there, okay? And for those who don't really know how heat map works, right, if there are orders resting, we would see kind of orders like this, okay? Or we'd see something like this, or like these levels, right? A red level is where a lot of orders are resting, right? We have 61 orders resting there. If we go back to 23396, crazy, we have 9 orders resting there. You think that's a liquidity sweep? No, I'm sorry, brother, not really, okay, because we really don't have a lot of orders resting there. So that's kind of what I'm trying to tell y'all, is that you guys can trade ICT, you can do this, you can do that, but you don't have any understanding of why a liquidity sweep is a liquidity sweep, or you don't have any understanding of why a fair value gap is a fair value gap, okay? So the biggest thing is understanding what you're trading, and that has made the biggest difference in the amount of money that I pull in each month from prop firms, is understanding what I'm trading, because I still trade ICT, I still use it, but I have actual knowledge of why it is that I'm using ICT over just blindly drawing a line on a screen and a box on a screen. And then 2, follow risk management, bro. If you tell yourself you're going to risk 500 on the day, risk 500 on the day, right? Don't be a fucking pussy. Don't blow your account on any single day because you just lost this amount of money. And another part of that is don't tell yourself, oh my God, dude, I got one more day until a payout. What do you think is going to happen on that next day where you're supposed to get a payout and you lose money? 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to go blow your account or put yourself in a bigger ditch than you needed to, right? If you were $500 away from a payout, the next day you then lose $1,000. Now you're $1,500 away from a payout, and that could take you X amount of days, right? So Think in terms of just literally the market is just a game and you just have to participate in the game, whether it's winning or losing. And obviously you can win more than you lose, but when you lose, that's what determines if you're going to be profitable or not. And that's going to determine what money you pull out of the market. So that being said, that is what personally has brought me to multiple 5 figures each month consistently in trading, and what made me $19,000 in profits this month. And that's something that I hope you guys would carry on through this video. And if you did carry on some of these things, come back to this video, comment on the video, and be like, yo, this shit actually worked. And if you go and learn order flow or learn volume profile, whatever it may be, let me know, because I'm telling you right now, ICT is literally that. You just don't understand you're trading it. But if you are trading ICT, you are literally trading order flow. You just do not realize it yet. So if you're interested in learning how to trade order flow, learning how to trade volume profile, etc., you know who to come to. You know who can help you, and I'd gladly help you out, because a lot of my students, literally every single one of them, trades ICT or did. And now they still do, but they trade volume profile and order flow with it because it's what makes sense and it's what ICT is actually based off of. So with that being said, Andrew Trades out, and I hope you guys make some fucking money from this video.